Uh, hmm. Oh, there's another one. Good morning, everyone. This is Juma Game Reserve, and my name is Mark. Welcome to Wild Earth Safari this morning. A very chilly morning. I'm wrapped up quite tight. I hope Becky is too. Becky's on camera. Craig is back in final control. And actually, so is Daniel. And we're going to try and bring you a wonderful morning this morning. Starting off here in the open area, there are already a couple of buffalo, not a couple, 5 big bulls making their way across the open area. And as I was approaching them, I found some wildebeest tracks. The wildebeest are back, and they're actually standing behind us somewhere. But we're going to just move up and have a look at these buffalo, because there's one buffalo that I recognize, and because he's here, I should be recognizing the others. But what makes him so distinctive, he's got a pink nose. And for those of you who've been with us a while, you might remember this buff. He's the only one around here that has a pink nose. It is a very chilly morning this morning for us. For me, at any rate. I seem to find it colder than everyone else. It must be my reptilian blood, I guess. Last week we had the boss here, Mr. Fox, and I came back from a drive. I was still wrapped up in about 5 or 6 layers of clothing, and Will was standing around in a short-sleeved shirt. The difference between those of us that grow up in a warm climate like this and those of us that grow up in a place like England, where this was probably a mild summer morning. We'll get to the wildebeest shortly. I'm just going to do what they do to me. I'm causing a roadblock.
Yeah, I know where you're gonna work now.
Morning, Mr. Buffalo. Okay, I know you don't really like it that I've stopped right in front of you. Pink-nosed bull's up in the back there somewhere. There he is. Wonder where they're wandering to. That's a very typical stance that he has there now. That can go from mild interest to I don't want you around anymore in an instant. And I don't want you around anymore turns into a full-on charge. But no, now that he's chewing his cud, and he is quite relaxed. We are in a vehicle, we are at less risk in a vehicle from an old bull like that. On foot it's a different matter, they can get very testy. This is a massive bull, it's a massive spread of his horns. Maybe not as big in body as another bull coming up at the back, but he's just got a big set of horns. Very pale patch just in front of his back leg. It's callous. He's rubbed all the hair off over the years. Imagine 20 years of... It's like just a huge callus. There is, the very top white part is probably a TB scar from a TB, surface TB, skin TB. But most of that is just a callus. I was watching him scratch his ear earlier, and when you See how he does that. The inside of his leg must rub on his flank like that. And after 20 years or so, it's caused this callus. A little bit more noticeable than most of these old bulls. Pink Nose is he's moved off into the bush already. Don't know if we're going to get to see him now. Going down to the drainage line. That could be him. Lift your head, please. A little more. I see that nose. Okay. Bye-bye, buffalo. Have a lovely day. And in the tree here, we have a buffalo weaver. We'll also be able to see the buffalo below them. There we go. Red-billed buffalo weavers. That's the female. There's a youngster coming to get some food. Also a female. You can see the speckled chest. There's a male in this tree in front of us. Very black belly. There we go. Looks like the male buffalo weaver. A little bit more distinctive. Very dark underneath. Social birds. They build very big nests. In fact, let's see if we go past one of the nests this morning. I'll point it out to you. But very big, untidy, massive nest with lots of sticks and twigs. Normally near water, but not necessarily. I have a nest near my house at home and I'm quite far from water. Very noisy when they're busy on their nests. This time of the year, not so noisy. Let's go see those wildebeest. Morning guys, 5 Dogger boys just crossed onto western edge of quarantine, gone into the Shkovanin. Excuse me. Just bring more water. Rhino tracks coming up from Filament Dip going north. Camera's feeling the cold this morning as well, by the looks of things. Misbehaving. And leopard tracks up and down. We'll just check around here a little bit. This looks like Misha or Induna, one of the two. This is the Bushbrae area, the bush picnic site for the lodge, where they have breakfasts or dinners. We have seen the boys here before. Ah, it's an Impala. Oh, I've got a fly. Now back to the boys with the Rambo and the Rambunctious. Two rams that have names. Look at the woodpecker. It's under that bush willow on that dead branch. Henry, come in.
Bye, Max.
Yeah, I've got Ingram Konzo, young my daughter here at Bushbrae site. I'll see if I can figure out where it's going, because it's going up and down.
Where about quarantine?
At Bushbrae.
Okay, so thank you. Yeah, I will just try to come on Tuesday, everything that's fine.
Okay, where'd my woodpecker go while I'm talking to the radio? I should have been looking at the woodpecker, because I didn't get even a chance to see who it is. Quite a large one, so it could be golden-tailed. It's all red on the head, which most of the woodpeckers have. Oh well, it'll be an unidentified specimen for the... There he is. Can't get a good look at it. Sun's rising. There he is, back again. Down the bottom there, but it's deep into those branches at the back. And come forward. There are termites on this side, woodpecker. I can see the tunnels. Ah, there we go. The red crown only comes halfway, then it's a black forehead with white spots on the forehead. I'm going to let birders identify this woodpecker for me. Let's go. We've got the sun rising, leopard tracks to look for, wildebeest to greet. Leopards obviously not around here because the impala are. And looks like hyena tracks up and down. Let's just have a look at the sunrise quickly. Ah, there's blood. Hyena must have... Excuse me, I need to get out and check something while you're looking at the sunrise. Well, I thought it was blood, but it's not. Just the hyena tracks here. It looks like maybe something was dripping, but I think it actually might just be a fluid from one of the cars. Now I found this, and I'm going to show you something interesting. Well, there have been leopard here, and I have to be honest, look, more than one. In fact, there's been at least two. There's leopard up and down, but there's some other very interesting marks here in the sand that would be very hard for most people to identify. Now, I don't know if you can see this line, this very distinct line. Looks like somebody's been drawing in the sand. I'm going to show you where it starts. Over here. And then it goes along, and it turns and twists and turns, and I followed it to the end. That's where I found this. And that is the larva of a scarab beetle, one of the dung beetles, that had obviously been living and growing in this dung midden. There's an impala midden. There's actually, where did I put it now? Found something else in the impala midden. There's the tail hair of a wildebeest. But what I'm figuring is that there's fresh urine there too. I'm figuring what happened was this poor beetle was weed on and didn't like it, and it started moving. I'm also thinking that it's moving away to go and pupate, turn into a pupa, and then wait until the spring, and then it'll emerge as an adult scarab. And it was buried in the sand there, right where the tire tracks are normally. So it would have been squashed today. It's curled up in defense. And actually, if I leave it, it goes very soft and it goes very soft, and it goes into sort of a normal state. But as soon as I touch it, it gets very rigid and almost as though it's sort of blowing itself up. Anyways, we're wasting time. There's a leopard down on Twin Dams Road somewhere, I'm sure, because these tracks go down that way. I'm going to try and keep this child and keep it safe, because I'd like to see which species it is when it pupates in the summer. It's not the dung beetle that rolls a ball, it's the dung beetle that just buries underneath the dung heap. Henry, come in.
By Mark?
Yeah, there's some cones off from Bushbrush side heading down to Twin Dams Road.
My book, another point on Twin Dam Road, but it was into that you go and in south of Twin Dam Road Junction and Sky.
Okay, thanks.
Also, people are on those roads.
Okay, thanks. Must have been a leap of leopards here last night. Hyena on Zoe's Road. Where can I keep this child safe now? Matchbox. Where do I put the matches? That's another matter. Where do we keep the matches? Now, I've done this on many occasions. I hear a go away bird. Oh, there it is, above the house. Wasps. A lot of times that I've been in the right place at the right time to find cleaning staff breaking wasp nests, because they have to, I guess, in the lodges. And so I'm just looking for somewhere to put the matches now. Anyways, cut a long story short, I very often put wasp larvae in matchboxes until they pupate, and then actually had those wasps when they've become adults, because then I hear them buzzing around, flexing their wings, and I open it up. And for me, I don't know, some people might not understand it, but for me, I get a great kick out of it. Is when those wasps are ready to take flight, that they take flight from my finger. For me, it's just something special. I've rescued a wasp and released it, and it takes its first flight off my fingers. Somehow, small things amuse me. Or maybe strange things amuse me. Maybe it's just a few people will get amused by the things that amuse me. Like lines in the sand drawn by a lava of a beetle. Okay, well, Henry is on Twin Dams Road playing with leopard tracks. Gone into the drainage line. The leopard's been up and down, up and down. I'm sure there are two leopards there because they look like two different sizes. But here are hyena tracks going down. Well, no, should not have crossed through there. Anyways, I've been promising to go to the den. We're going to start off going to the den this morning. See if there's anyone there. If not, we might come back later. It is chilly and the sun's rising. I'm hoping that maybe hyena want to lie in the morning sun. Maybe the youngsters will be playing about. Maybe. Okay, I don't have any. That might explain it. In case Craig's been trying to get hold of me, I just realised I don't have anything coming through my earpiece because the join is broken. Okay, back to the old, not so comfortable one. Okay, we'll drive for so long and I'll see if I can unknot everything. Okay, we're going to try this one maybe. Okay, we'll be back in business. In case we've had some questions that I haven't heard. Shirley. Sorry, I had to. Shirley in Wisconsin. I believe we have two Shirleys with us. And Shirley in Wisconsin is saying something about this mark on the bottom on the right. It's not a smudge on the screen. That is, the camera is playing up this morning. We've had to take the whole front cover off because it was showing oh, it's bitterly cold down here. Somehow something inside the camera is just not, it's just not behaving. So we've had to take the shade cover off because it was showing, and that's nothing that we can do anything about. It is something inside the camera because it's so cold, I think. It was doing it yesterday morning and it came right just before we went live. And this morning we've been trying to switch it on and off, and trying to get it going, but it might it might sort itself out as the morning goes on. And then Shirley was asking about gunshots at the dam this morning. I was up. Sue in Hackensack sent an email. I saw that in FC just before. Sorry, I've got to cover my legs. It's freezing this morning. I saw an email, and Sue had said it was like 5:45 this morning, and at 5:45 I was in my bathroom getting ready, and I have an open bathroom, so I can hear even the leaves rustle outside, and I didn't hear a thing. So whatever it was must have been right near the microphone at the dam. Now, I don't believe it was a gunshot. On the other hand, Craig said, because if it was a gunshot and it was at the dam, I would have heard it. I promise you. I'm very tuned into gunshots. And almost every weapon the Russians were using when we were, and the rebels were using in Angola, because they were supplied by the Russians. So I've handled a variety of weapons, used many different types of weapons. And I believe I'm familiar with the sound of gunshots. But also, if it was a gunshot and I was, because Craig said he thought he heard something. Excuse me, and I've lived closer to the dam than Craig. And I don't know, I didn't hear anything. But that might be because, I don't know, maybe for whatever reason. Nobody here. The hyena either still out or they're inside, or we're not having luck with the hyena den these days. Anyways, I can give you some explanations what it could be. Especially having had those buffalo come along. When buffalo bulls hit each other head on in sparring, the sound of their bosses hitting each other can sound like the crack of a rifle. And I mean really, really loud. The other thing is, when elephants are feeding, an elephant breaking a tree in half can sound like a gunshot. Now, I'm not ruling out that it wasn't gunshots. I can't. All I'm saying is I didn't hear anything, and I'm offering explanations for what it could be. And until I hear different, I can't answer the question. So I can find out if there's anything from the lodge side of things, if they heard anything, or if they know. It would only be from someone at the lodge. I can't imagine why somebody would be up that early firing rifles or anything. It isn't anything to be concerned about, I don't think. Henry, come in.
Stand by.
Sorry for. Did you hear a spum this morning?
Did I hear what?
Spum, gunshot.
No, I didn't hear that.
Okay, thanks. Henry, who would have been at the lodge getting ready for drive, also didn't hear anything. But I can ask further when I get back to camp this morning. Sorry, I can't give you any answers. I'm not having luck with the earpieces this morning. Came out again. So anything that was said in the last 10 minutes I've lost. Now it's back to work. Okay, next. Patty was asking, where's the judge? Is he still around? Patty, I don't think a judge has been seen since last winter when he was sighted briefly. We have no idea whether he's around. We have no idea where he is, I'm afraid. If he's alive and he's on Buffelshoek, we won't know about it. The only time we will know about the judge is when he comes back, if he comes back this way this winter, to Buffelshoek Dam. And we see him. It's the only time we'll know anything about the judge if we see him. And I promise you that if we see him, we will be informing everyone that he's around. For those of you who are fairly new to us, the judge is a particular buffalo bull who has been seen for many, many years. Both horns are broken, so all he has is that boss in the front of his head, and it gives him the impression of a judge with a wig on. Hence the name, of course. Only way to stop my eyelids freezing, drive slow. Clarissa. Clarissa wants to know if the leopards... Third drive. Morning, Clarissa. Do the leopards hide from us? The sound of us and the vehicle going through the bush? No, not really. In some places they do. In some places, yes, Clarissa. Leopard are very shy. But here, not at all. Yeah, the leopard are very used to the vehicle. And for the most part, they ignore it. Morning, doves. Bye-bye, doves. Boy, there's a bite to the air this morning. You okay there, Becky? You okay there? Good. Of course, Becky's higher up than me. I've got at least the dashboard giving me a little bit of protection. Sabrina, morning. How many leopards are in the reserve? Gosh, I couldn't even give you a number. Let me. I mean, we can't exactly extrapolate either. If I think about it, we've got at least maybe not a dozen, but let's say 10 leopards. Well, let's see. We have Karula and the two cubs. Mishu and Induna, Yambilo Yadan, Mafufunyan, Mbula, that's already 8. Who else comes through here occasionally? We've had, what's her name from Maracusa come in, makes 9. Safari, she hasn't been around for a long time, but makes 10. Let's say 12 different leopard that have come through here in the last while, and there's probably about 6 leopard that we see on a regular basis, and that's just in this small area of the reserve. This is just Djuma. Djuma is only 1,000 hectares, 2,000 and something acres. The Sabi Sand Game Reserve is 56,000 hectares, or 120, 130,000 acres. So I would say we can't exactly multiply it by 56 because that would be impossible. Because a lot of the leopards have very large territories and they're part of the properties of the Sabi Sand. But I would say there's got to be easily 50 odd leopard in the Sabi Sand. Sorry, no, Craig, going into Treehouse Dam, bad signal. Just try that again, please. Sorry, I hope I'm getting this right. Joanne wants to know what was making the zigzag tracks through the sand. It was the beetle larva I had on the dashboard. Maybe the stream was jumping and you weren't hearing or following what I was saying. But the beetle larva that I had, scarab beetle larva. Sometimes wonder. full word in. From this earpiece, that's terrible. Doesn't get the sound right. Treehouse Dam. I got some of that. That's Joanne was saying that there were buffalo at the dam, but I didn't hear anything else after that. Surprised there isn't a layer of ice on it this morning. Of course, we don't get temperatures that cold that there would be ice. And I'm guessing that we're just a little bit above zero this morning. Probably about 3 or 4 degrees Celsius. Nothing in here. Morning to San Diego. Hello, Amy. Amy, San Diego. Do we often see the big cats? Yes, we do, Amy. Quite often. We're going to go back and look on those leopard tracks a little bit later. We're going to be looking at one of our most famous cats. Was in this area just to our left yesterday. She was seen here, and I'm going to have a look to see if there's anywhere that give us an indication of where she went from there. Be an elephant here. We don't see lion as often as we would like to see lion. For some reason, well, part of the reasons are the upheaval in lion society that's been taking place over the last few years. Yeah, it's taking a long time to settle down. But with the likes of first a coalition of 6 males known as the Mapokos, the big males, 6 big males that came in and caused havoc, killing lion left, right and centre. But those 6 lion have now moved south, and their numbers have dropped to 4 or 3 even. And there were another 5 males that came in, and they fought with some 2 of the 6. And, one of them was killed. And just recently there was news of another big fight where 2 lionesses were killed, and a couple of big males were also killed. We don't know whether it was one of the Mapokos that was killed or whether it was one of the Majinga lions. But that happened far away, and I'm only hearing mumblings about it. I haven't really heard anything further. But this has upset the lion prides in this area, and the pride that we had living here was decimated by big male lions. Sandy Patch pride, Styx pride occasionally come back here. They're down south at the moment. Just recently, just last week, we had 3 different groups of lion here at once. different parts of this very small area that we traverse on. And we haven't had any tracks of lion for a few days. But that's why we drive around looking at the ground a lot, because that tells us what has been moving around. It tells us whether we are likely to have any lion on the property that have come in from neighboring farms, neighboring areas, and helps us to follow up on where there might be rhino here and elephant. Rhino going that way, elephant going the other way. We're on the junction of Spum Road and our southern boundary called Gary Main. And we are going to look for some tracks. I think we'll head east a little bit along this main road. There's a bit of dust hanging in the air, so there's been a vehicle driving here just recently. I'm hoping to maybe pick up on some tracks of our leopard queen, Karula, who was last seen here yesterday morning. Elephants have crossed over, some of them at least, crossed over to the south. Now when animals cross this road, we can't follow them. This is the nature of what happens here, that we are confined to this an area to my left. This is the Sabi Sand Game Reserve, and is an area that is comprised of many different privately owned properties. These landowners, already as early as the 1950s, got together and declared this a private nature reserve. They removed all their internal fencing to give animals a greater roaming area. And for many years, up until the early 90s, many decades, 40 years odd, it remained a self-contained private reserve of about 130 odd thousand acres. And it was in the early 90s that it was incorporated into the Kruger National Park, which is to the east of us, just over that far ridge, maybe a few more miles. Excuse me. Is the famous Kruger National Park, which is 7,500 square miles worth of natural wilderness. And in the early 90s, this part of the world was incorporated into Kruger for the animals to move through even larger territories, or rather areas. The rhino crossed over, but now that's probably the rhino, the lovesick rhino that we saw yesterday. Despite all these fences dropping and boundaries opening up, it is only for the sake of the animals. As humans, we are limited to the land that we stay on, which is for us is Juma Game Reserve. Elephant's gone south. One of them. Weaver's Nest. It's a road, I mean, the name of the road. Barbara wants to know what the temperature is. I'm not really sure, Barbara, but I'm sure it's around 40. Maybe 5 degrees, even lower than 5 Celsius. It's probably hovering just under 40 Fahrenheit. And yes, I know that there are many places that get way below zero and way sort of into the negative temperatures. And then I shouldn't complain because this isn't cold and that. Look, yeah. Tell that to my body. My body can't deal with much below this. I'm like a reptile. Michelle and Glenn from Thousand Oaks. I've got a question, Michelle and Glenn. Has anybody really ever counted the oaks at Thousand Oaks? Are there really 1,000? Anyways, Michelle and Glenn are asking if there are any animals that are tagged and monitored. Occasionally we do see collared animals. There are a few elephants that come through here that are collared. They have radio collars on. They're part of the Transboundary Elephant Project. You can see information about that on savetheelephants.org. Save the Elephants, one word, lowercase, .org. In fact, I have to think of it. There's one elephant I saw recently at home, big tusker that's got a collar on. I must actually find out who he is. But I only got a cell phone photo from a poor 2 megapixel cell phone camera. Anyways, the details of that. The Sabi Sand has collared a couple of wildebeest to monitor wildebeest movement. I think there's a collared lioness around. That's about it as far as I know. Yes, a little bit of research being done on some animals. Those elephant tracks that we saw going south, probably the elephants we saw here yesterday. Elephant Skull Road. Sabrina, morning. Are any animals like rhino and elephant ever brought into the reserve? No, no, Sabrina. If anything, it's the other way around. Well, not anymore. What was that?
Yeah, last I confirmed you calling shark.
No, shark.
Yeah, okay.
Let's go down to Chilapan. There was a time when the Sabi Sand was still self-contained, fenced in, as it were. Morning,
Yeah,
Dove.
last I calling shark. It's lumpy. Yeah, yeah. So it's going to pick up an area. Slowly, slowly.
Heard of elephant. I mean, buffalo on Zoe's Road.
One copy with Jasper. What is that? The Slummy Yari? Yati? Check copy, thank you.
But anyways, in fact, when the Sabi Sand was first established, there were very few rhino. Oh, I see a giraffe up ahead. There were very few rhino. In fact, no rhino at all in this part of the world. And the first rhino were reintroduced into the Sabi Sand, I think in about 1963 or 64. Big snake track on the road. And by 1987 or 88. Morning, Mr. G. Beautiful big giraffe bull. It's about 1988, I think, that the first white rhino was translocated out of the reserve because the numbers since the early 60s. Another big snake track. I'm thinking it's the same snake that went one way and now it's come the other way. That must have been yesterday. Can't imagine the snake moving around this morning. Morning, Mr. G. Gosh, you're an old man. We'll get back to the rhino and elephant location thing in a minute. Also got a few scars on you, boy. If you could talk. I'm sure he's seen his fair share of lion attacks. Some pretty hefty scars on his leg. That's possibly from being chased, running through the bush at night. And giraffe is at such a disadvantage, even in full moonlight. Although their eyesight is pretty good, but the cats get very low to the ground, dropping the horizon, so that everything in front of them is silhouetted against the sky. On the other hand, the taller you are, the more ground you have. In fact, for a giraffe, at night there's very little silhouetted against the sky and everything is in the darkness of the bush around you. And unless there is moonlight or really bright starlight, your sight is limited. Giraffe are lucky, they do have what most other animals have to enhance night vision. The layer of cells behind the retina known as the tapetum that do aid with improving night sight, night vision. But they are highly vulnerable at night, especially if they're being attacked. And as big as he is, and as old as he is, he's not immune. I mean, he's not... Yeah, there's some pretty hefty scratches on the back of his legs that could be lion claw marks. I have no doubt a bull like this would have seen his fair share of lion attacks. Probably in around 25 to about, I'd say 25 years old, give or take a few years, reaching that age where he's going to start. He's on a downhill trend. His horns or ossicones are quite distinct. He's got a thicker left horn than right horn, but he's also got a huge calcium deposit on his forehead that happens with age. You can see it almost looks like a third horn on the front of his face, and that has that. Let's go a little bit forward. There's that mud pan ahead of us. We might be able to see him across that mud pan with better light. You're gonna have something to drink here, old man. Also a lovely dark coat, sunburnt. There's a tendency of giraffe males to darken with age. He just heard something. Sako Susie, haven't heard from you for a while. Welcome back to Drive. What position do giraffes sleep in? Well, this is the thing. Giraffe, very much like most other herbivores, don't really sleep the way we know sleep. Herbivores can't really sleep on account of the number of different predators that are just waiting for an animal like that to fall asleep. Giraffe rest, they do go into, I think you could call it a sternal repose. They lie down on their sternum, they tuck their legs underneath them, they lie down, and their head will stay up. That'll be just sort of resting the legs, might doze off for a bit. But the other thing about all of herbivores is that because of the kind of food that they eat, they can't really stop processing the food. They can take a break from selecting it, but they've got to constantly be processing the food, and that means chewing the cud. And so they don't really sleep the way we know sleep. They'll lie down. I don't know if you can even call it lying down. They'll tuck their legs under them and lie down. But all the herbivores, most of them, will rest with their heads up because they have to be alert. They have to be ready to jump up. Things like young zebra lie down. Young animals might lie down flat. I've only really known zebra, maybe baby elephants, to lie flat on the ground. But giraffe, partly too because of the blood pressure and blood to the brain, their heads can't be parallel to their heart or on the same plane. It's different when they're bending down to pick things up off of the ground or when they're bending down to drink, because there are physical adaptations to limit the blood flow to the brain when they're doing that. Physiological features. Oh, he's disappeared off into the bush. Oh, that's loud. Morning, Dawn. Welcome to our Dawn. Dawn, I hope we can find another Dawn. Dawn whose name is Mishu. Mishu means dawn. Mishu the leopard. Now that we have a Dawn with us on Drive, maybe Mishu the leopard will arrive this fine Saturday dawn. It's more than dawn, we're morning now. Dawn is broken. Dawn, it's a bit of both. When giraffe get old, they do die of old age, but they are also then susceptible to predation because they're slower There is also, they get stiffer with age. You know, giraffe bulls fight a lot as they in adulthood, and in all that fighting. Oh, there's a kingfisher here and a heron. I don't want to disturb the heron. Heron's frogging, and there's a kingfisher probably catching tadpoles. I want to go. Let's go back up towards Gowrie Dam. So yes, they can die of old age. I was saying that yes, throughout their adult life, when the bulls, especially the bulls, more so than the cow, but the bulls spar a lot, they fight, and when bulls fight, they thrash each other, they hit each other with their heads, they swing their necks, and they punch each other with those horns, those ossicones, and they can cause damage to vertebrae. And the way nature helps to remedy injuries to vertebrae is to just create this sort of calcium buildup around an injury where they can get, where the vertebra can fuse with calcium deposits. And sometimes when you see giraffe skeletons, and you can see when the skeleton isn't disarticulated, when it is still intact, sometimes you can see two cervical vertebrae almost looking like one because of this huge calcium deposit around the joint where the disc would be, and it makes them slower. It does make them easier to bring down by a pride lion. Lion, when they're hunting giraffe, will hunt giraffe in very particular terrain and conditions. Because all they have to do is get the giraffe on the ground, and it's relatively easy to kill them. Just getting back to the question about rhino, whether we bring rhino or elephant in. I was just saying that by the late 80s, about 1987 or 88, when I was in the southern part of the Sabi Sand, I was part of an exercise that was the first translocation of a white rhino out of the reserve, and so that was what, 25 years or so it had taken for the reserve to build up its rhino stock enough that there were enough white rhino in this reserve to then translocate out of the reserve. But then in the 1990s, when the fences were taken down between here and Kruger, it no longer became an issue because the rhino moved freely between Kruger and here, and so did the elephant. The elephant used to move freely between here and Kruger anyway. They just used to walk over the fence. But when you look at the numbers of both elephant and rhino in the park, there's no need to bring animals in. If anything, there's going to be a need to translocate animals out. So in elephant, the population is sitting at probably about 15,000 at the moment. White rhino population sitting at probably about, I think, somewhere near 12,000, 10 or 12,000. So there's no need to translocate animals into, or bring animals in. Certainly enough of them. Not enough of them, but there are healthy populations of both elephant and rhino. Black rhino, maybe not as many. I can't remember the figures for black rhino. There's only about 2,000. Was it? No, I don't even think it was near 2,000. Oh boy. Fighting with earpieces again. Didn't Kelly bring some earpieces? Lorry. Morning, Lorry. Yeah, more leopard. Up and down, up and down. Well, it's the same leopard we saw up on quarantine. Same leopard making these tracks as those tracks. I wish I could find him. Saying that it was 9 degrees at Skakuza. Well, this is colder than 9 degrees, Laurie. Skakuza is a little further away. Excuse me a moment. Battling a little bit. You'd think people who... Hang on please, Craig. I don't have an earpiece in my ear at the moment. I can't get it to stay there. Every time I turn my head, it falls off. Can't wear these things with glasses. You either wear glasses or you wear this earpiece. Excuse me a moment, everyone. You'd think they'd think of ergonomics and when they design these things. Unbelievable. Crying in a bucket. Oh, there's a scrub hare running towards us. What's a scrub hare doing running around this? Oh, it'll only be running around because there's a leopard chasing it. In my opinion. IMHO, in my humble opinion. A new one I've just learned. I cannot get this thing to stay in my ear, much as I'm trying hard. Let's see how that works. Limit my head movement. Scrub hare is a nocturnal animal. Shouldn't be running around now. The only reason why it would have been disturbed is if there is the likes of a predator around. Yes! Yes, I can see something through the trees. Hold on to your seats, everybody, because I have found... You missed the scrub hare. Morning, leopard. I love it. I love it. Who are you? Wow. One of your boys are around here. It looks like Karula. There's a small leopard. The hare went that way. Back into the drainage line. Went that way. What are you hunting scrub hares for when there's 100 impala up there on the open area? Ingwe Twin Dam, south of Gari Dam. It's not the leopard whose tracks we've been seeing.
Gotta make my way down, Dunya. I'm on Twin Dam Road now.
Yeah, fam.
I thought it might, what was that?
I got Karula, Twin Dams Road. There's one of the children. There's Karula in front of us. Here's one of the cubs. Fantastic. Hello, little one. Who are you? Little boy or little girl? Little girl. Why are you getting so shy? That's why I said there was a leap of leopards, because there was tracks of the male and there were tracks of hers as well. She's up ahead of us.
Last I can confirm, is she mobile somewhere or not?
It looks like she's just been chasing a scrub here. I've just seen one of them on Pimpan as well. In and out of this bush, just south of the dam. Got both of them on Pimpan, yeah.
Okay, copy. Yeah, no, we'll probably join in the next 2 minutes or so.
Okay, copied. I'm making the way back towards the dam now. We are lucky today. Persistence pays off sometimes. Even if you don't find them one day, you're bound to find them the next. Or the next. Or the next. She's coming out onto the road. Just going to move up a bit, Becky. Coming back towards the road. Anybody who's any of our zoomies with Djuma Waterhole Cam, you can also get ready to maybe view them coming onto Djuma Waterhole Cam, because they are approaching the dam. We're still a little bit away. I'll keep you posted as to when they might get close enough to catch them on the camera. Look at that. We're so lucky. Been waiting to see these three together for a while now. We saw the two cubs a couple of days ago, and then we had a brief glimpse of Karula a little while, not yesterday, no, day before, with that Dacre kill. Look at her, she's alert, she wants to catch something for them. And they're learning from her too. Okay, we've got to move. We've got a vehicle coming up, I'm going to have to make space for them. Becky, going to move. Mark, yeah, go ahead. Fine, and you?
Very good, thanks, Mark. Mark, sorry, what's she doing in the mobile static? How many vehicles have you got?
At the moment, she's mobile, heading back towards Gari Dam. I've got two vehicles on lock, one on the way, and probably one on standby at the moment.
Okay, copy that. Thank you very much. I'll call you a wee bit later. I just want to go find.
Okay, copy.
Thanks, man. Can I go in?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
See if the little ones are going to climb this tree. It looks like they're getting ready to have a game. Looks like she listened to me. She's making her way up towards quarantine, where all the impala are, with that tail. So expressive, that tail. We're now heading west up towards Ingaskaya.
Okay, copy that. I'm on the Achara close by Quarantine.
Okay, copy. We're probably still a little far from the dam to be picked up by the camera. There's a termite mound coming up. Maybe they'll be up on the termite mound in a minute. Yep, just going towards this termite mound. Watch these little ones probably go straight up the termite mound.
How much are you between Uriska and Angasal? Or are you on the southern side of Angaskai?
And we're still eastern side of Ingaskaya, between Ingaskaya and Twin Dams Road.
Okay, copy, thank you.
Gonna pounce on its brother. That's the little girl. No. It's gonna move again. Look at that tail. She's almost as though she was angry there for a minute. Abel, come in.
Calling me, Mike?
Calling Abel, just want to know where he is.
I was down Bethel-Souk. I think you will wait for Jack to pull out and then you will come in.
Okay, copy.
You are coming to Kevin? Morning, Jacques. Are you on Locust Karula? Yeah, I can see.
How can cheetah planes be calling the shots on Juma? I don't understand that. Getting into some pretty thick stuff. It's almost as though she made up her mind that she wants to sneak up through this thick bush, maybe get closer to some animals up ahead. Hard to keep up with her through this. Very hard to keep up with her through this. Henry, come in. Are you unlocked with us? We're possibly going to have to leave in a minute. Going back towards Wahlberg's Nest Road. Cindy wants to know why the other Jeep is there. Cindy, because this is where there are safaris. There are luxury lodges here that guests pay a lot of money to come and stay at and come out on safari. And they are here to do what we're doing in real time. Okay, I'm not going to move. We've got other cubs still coming this way. Come, little one, I'm not moving. Come on. Unbelievable. She's gone through very, very thick bit of bush now. I'm hoping she's going to come out on the road. She's about 50 yards from the road. Zebra wood. Right next to Inga's kaya. Now Inga's kaya. Inga is the sister of the owner of Juma, and it's her house that Karula is at now. The house is fenced, and that's where some of our crew stay. I'm sure she's going to come out onto this road, onto the open area. There she is. Just at the gate to Inga's house. And one little one. And the vehicle. And the other little one. I'm hoping they're going to go to that termite mound up ahead of us. One that's got that spike thorn on it. Here she comes into the open. Coming out to have a look for impala. So you should call it quarantine. Okay, let's move up a little. There's a termite mound for them to go up. A nice open termite mound. It would be great if they were up there, lying on that termite mound. There's some pushed over trees here that, and great if she's on that termite mound in the sun. Welcome to Wild Earth Safari, everyone. And one of the reasons for our living is to watch this fantastic cat, Karula, raising her cubs. This is the third litter we're watching her raise. On average, a litter every 2 years. Yeah, they're going to go up this termite mound. Let's go forward a little bit. The cubs are bound to be up top there. Vantage point. There's a very good chance that she has made a kill somewhere, and because she's on it. Who was that? Annette. The cubs are fine, Annette. Please don't worry. This cat is quite used to the vehicles. Both cubs are here. They are walking quite happily. Their ears are not down against the back of their heads, which is a sign that cats are uncomfortable. She would also growl at us. She would also charge the vehicle. The two cubs are fine. Please don't worry about anything. The guides respect these cats. I was saying that because she's heading in a particular direction, I'm quite convinced that she's taking them back towards a kill. Phil, come in. Phil, come in. Now, Phil, please liaise with Henry regarding coming into the site. I was saying, please liaise with Henry regarding coming into the sighting. Well, here we are going back into the bushbra area where we were looking around this morning. I thought I saw some markings from blood. See, she's got a kill here somewhere. Just by the way things are panning out. Right there at the barbecue area. It's probably going to go down into the drainage line where those buffalo were heading this morning. Ah, there's a cub in a tree. I think it knows that it's going to a kill, because if I remember how Mission and Duna were, oh, they're chasing a squirrel. Did she get it? No. That's very hard to jump from there, little one. Karula went into a small bush willow. There was a squirrel that was obviously being chased by this cub. That's very high for a little one. I mean, to be doing something silly. Dead branches and things. We should be the other side as well. Get that in the morning light.
Right next to you.
Pardon?
There's one right next to you.
Coming to see what's going on. Can see its sibling in the tree. But yeah, it'd be nice. And hiss at me. This is the little boy, I think. Yep. So that's little girl in the tree. Hello, Karula. Hello, pretty girl. Eyeing Becky out, giving everybody the Karula look. Other little ones coming down now. She's a feisty little cat, that actually. We need to think of a name. I see that it's either a squirrel or a little bird, and it's chasing it again. Up into another tree. Let's just move. Oh, I can hardly move. Karula's behind me. One lucky squirrel. She's watching it again. I can't move because Karula's in my way. Karula's sitting directly behind me. Let me just go and turn around. Then we can see things better. Alright, little one's given up on the squirrel. Back with mom. Going after a francolin now. There's a francolin just at the base of a tree cleaning itself. The little girl's going after that francolin. But Franklin, I think, has just seen it because its tail is giving it away. Looking back for confirmation from Mom. Gonna stalk Mom now. Pincher movement. Karula anticipated his youngster jumping up on it. Looks like with other vehicles coming in, we're gonna have to give people a break. Just to let you know, the internet stream is making the picture a little bit fuzzy this morning. It's not the camera. It is an HD camera. Little one's on a dead tree stump now. Let's go to Karula. Two vehicles are staying at the back here with the little ones. So Karula's quite far ahead of them now. They're playing. She's clearly taking them to a particular place. She's been heading in the same spot. Here she comes. Oh, fantastic. Calling them now. I remember when the others were youngsters and they knew that they were going to a kill. They used to fight over being in front. And when they thought they were getting close, they would run ahead of Karula. They're going. Heading down towards where we left the buffalo this morning, but also an area where she used to take kills with Mission and Duna when they were this age, that little pan in the drainage line. Down into the drainage line. Exactly the same place the buffalo went. Of course the buffalo aren't there anymore, I'm sure. But this is where she used to had a number of kills in trees down here in the past with her previous litters. Sit down. Sit down. Okay. Sit down. I'm hoping she's still coming this way. On the termite mound just south of us. We're going to see where she goes from here. She's watching something. Yeah, go.
Another foot in military is filling by the game there. So maybe you can take it here.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we've got to leave. No problem. I didn't know there was a station standing by. Alright. We're going to leave. Because there's another vehicle, we have to give way for the other vehicles to come in. And on the way out, I'm just going to have a look at this mud wallow. Actually, it's a seasonal pan. It's all dried up by now. It's full of bullfrog in summer. Okay, well, we've had some fantastic sightings of them, some view rather. We had a fantastic view of them, and made my morning. I'm sure it has for those of you too. Kathy wants to know if they kill every day. Not necessarily, Kathy. It depends. Depends on many different factors. They can kill every day. If, for example, they're killing something small, there's only small things to eat. Like some leopards in some parts of the world don't have fairly large mammals to be able to prey on, and they prey on mostly some of the small things. And they would need to eat every day. But it depends on what size animal they're feeding on, and depends on how successful they are at hunting. So it's not a case of whether they kill every day as much as it is a case of whether they're successful every day. Afsharing for kom maar in. Ja. Kom. Dawn, yes. Termite mounds are used just for height advantage. You're able to see over the bush. It's important for her, especially moving with the cubs, it's important for her to feel secure in the direction that, well, in the area that she's moving in, especially if she's taking them to a kill. It's important for her to make sure that it's safe for her to proceed with her youngsters. And yeah, all cats, in fact, even impala and kudu and zebra, everybody likes to stand on termite mounds, get a better view over things. Baboons. Lots of animals. Well, maybe a little bit later in the morning when the vehicles have made their rounds, we can come back if they eventually get to a point where there's a kill and they settle down. The guys can talk. We'll keep track of what's happening with it. There is still a male leopard around because there were tracks of a male from where she is now heading down to the drainage line. There's no routine. All the predators, there's no routine to it. It's not like us humans that have specific meal times, or even our human four-legged family who we force to have specific meal times because we have meal times. Our dogs and our cats, you know, we tend to feed our animals when we think they need to be fed instead of when they really want to be eating. Now, whenever I've been with a cat, I just leave food out for the cat. The cat eats when it wants to. And I supplement its food. I would supplement its food then once or twice a day, depending on things, with a wet meal. But animals, well, carnivores, predators, it's all about when they can catch something, being successful. And sometimes they can go for days without hunting, or without being successful rather. And if they've had a large meal, they can last up to a week. Definitely going to be hungry after a while. But well, that was fortuitous. Seeing that scrub hare and then the leopards. It was almost as soon as I saw that scrub hare, and especially the way the posture of that scrub hare, I just knew. One of those anyways. Weekend, I guess the landowners here, so it make a few more vehicles driving around than normal. So sorry you weren't able to see her from the camera here at the dam. Well, you can see us. If it's any consolation, anybody's operating the cam at the dam, zoom the waterhole camera. There's some water butt coming down from the western side, and we crossing the dam wall. Gonna go up Central Road, or I don't know. Haven't decided yet where we're gonna go.
Might travel towards that kind of but faces that direction. Alright, okay, thank you very much. Full. Standing by on full.
Nonplussed hippos. Oblivious to the excitement that's just happened within 50 yards, 100 yards of them. The water's receding at a steady rate. Hello, hippo. Another one just popped his head up and down. Let's continue. Question from Texas. Sandy wants to know if Karula will challenge a male leopard for her kill. No, I don't think so, Sandy. I think she would give way. You know, when it comes to those sort of things, where there's a dispute over a kill, predator isn't likely to get too physical in the challenge, because an injury can be detrimental to future hunting ability. So if a big male came along, she would probably relinquish the kill, because she would be assured to be able to get away from him, because his interest would only be in the kill rather than in her, and to be able to escape him, she would just relinquish the kill and then leave it be.
Are you okay? Later this morning, I don't know about the way, but this is myself a good time down in my now. Just tell me where that guy is.
Sorry, how deep is the water at the dam? I think from Jan. It's difficult to say. Some of it's deep. The best is to wait until an elephant gets into the water, then you can see how deep it is. It's not possible with the hippo because they tuck their legs underneath them and they lie down. And they're not always standing up. I guess it may be about 4 or 5 feet still at one of its deepest parts, but I don't really know, Jan. The only way to tell is to be in the water, and you can't do that. Put a stick down. I think we'll take Vulture's Nest and go and have a look at that Vulture's Nest. Cold morning like this, might still be a vulture on it. It looked like there might have been a youngster there the other day. Henry, come in.
Then what?
Is that PC Kai on Zoe's active?
I'm not there yet, yeah, but it looks like there is business, yeah. I just forgot that yesterday afternoon, and that's why I was there. So yeah, but it looks like there is.
Okay, because there's nothing happening at that Phillips cut line one.
They left there, I thought them yesterday afternoon was the
Okay, thanks. So that's why we haven't been finding the hyena at the den. They moved to the old den site on Zoe's Road. And Karula's kind of heading in that direction, or she was. We're gonna wander around in this part of the world for a bit. cold wind that comes in from the south. Yesterday we had a berg wind from the north. It was so warm, it was almost like a summer's day. The temperature difference between the 2 days is dramatic, to say the least. And no doubt it has some effect on some of the animals, including me. But this is coming in from them, bringing the cold air from the snow on the mountains in the south. There were actually warnings of a severe cold front coming through the country in the next few days. And I guess we can say that it hit last night. Any of the roads that we take when we're driving south, they're the coldest roads, like this one. There's the Vulture's Nest. This is Vulture's Nest Road. There is the Vulture's Nest, the top of that jackalberry. I'm not seeing anything yet. Maybe we zoom in and I look with binoculars. Yep, I see a little head sticking up on the right hand side of the nest. It's gone down now. But there was a head there. There's another something on the left too. Looks like a edge of a wing blowing in the wind. Heads is probably tucked in because it's cold. It must be a little bit colder up there than it is down here. Well, who knows? Maybe not as cold. Maybe just a bit windier. Okay, onward go. We'll keep an eye on that over time. I think there's a youngster in that nest. If anyone can remember when we had that youngster last year, what time of the year it was, we had young vultures in that nest. Or a young vulture. I only have one. We had a young vulture. Take a ride up Karula Road now. Hello, little dove. Bye bye, little dove. Little emerald spotted dove landed next to me. Ah, some kudu coming out of the bushes. Hello, children. How serendipitous to find them crossing the road. See how they curl their tails up, show that very white underneath to the tail as they run. Helps. Curl their white. Well, you don't see the white unless they flare their tails or curl it up over their back. You'll see these others that are coming through now to cross the road. As they walk, they don't do it. It's only when they run, really. But they can vary the amount of white that they show. And when they're running, it's partly to help the youngsters follow them. Comes one of the little ones. Oh, big cow next to us. Come, little one. And then the sub-adult female. Fairly young female. Pretty girl. Yeah, big old lady. Oh, she's coming behind us. A big female. Big old lady. When did you get a scratch on your cheek?
Oh, I was looking through the camera.
Today?
Yeah, just now.
I'm sorry.
No, it was my fault. I was looking at it. It was when we were with Karula.
Becky got a scratch on her cheek. 2 parallel lines from her nose to her ear. Looking through the camera, trying to follow Karula, not seeing a branch. Occupational hazards. You'll be scarred for life. You'll blame me forever. Bye, Kudu. Now that white that they have underneath their tail is quite common. A number of other antelope that have it. All of the family of the kudu, the tragolaphids, the spiral-horned antelope have that. And they use that for what we call flag signaling. Now, it's actually very important and it can save a life. It can save your own life if you're a kudu or an impala. when they're being attacked by a predator has to single out one individual amongst the herd and go for that individual. And as the herd scatters, they flare their white underneath of their tail, and that flash of white partly acts as a warning to others, because others might be feeding and might not see anything. Well, they're certainly going to hear the alarm calls. They should, at any rate. But that flash of white is enough to distract a predator, because if a predator is going for an individual over here and it gets a flash of white from the tail on its right, it might just distract that predator for that split second, and it'll be enough for that individual that the predator was going for to get away, because a predator can't really change targets once the hunt has begun. As soon as the predator goes for the hunt, it's got to commit itself to that individual that it was going for. Occasionally, I mean, it's not a hard and fast rule as with everything in nature, but occasionally an opportunity might arise in the scattering of a herd that an individual crosses a predator's path close enough for a predator to be able to change its concentration from one individual to another, but it's not common. Quite normally what happens is the predator has got to go for that individual, and if it misses, it misses. It's the law of averages. The predator cannot. Nature won't allow predators to kill something every time they attempt a hunt, to make an attempt. And that flag signaling can be a lifesaver. I was going to go back on Central Road to Nyala Road south, back to Chelapan and onto Philemon's Cut Line. There's some rhino there. But I'm going to make a quick loop up to Cheetah Cut Line, then back to Central Road, and then to Nyala Road south. We might have time for that. Just need to see what might have been walking up and down Cheetah Cut Line. As well as Drakensberg Drive. Ouch. Doesn't sound good. Excuse me. Let's have a little chesty cough. The problem with woodpeckers is they keep going to the back of the tree. Zebra track. Abel, come in. Abes, what happened with Karula? Okay, thanks. See, she's crossed the hose road already. Near the little big open area. I'm guessing that must be the which. Oh, elephant, very fresh elephant tracks. Hello, EPAT. Is it going to be an FSC? Oh, look at this knobthorn. And if that was the storm. Looks old enough to have been the storm. Yes, I think we should probably have an FS. Why do they do that? Unbelievable. Probably going to be an FSC on Sunday at about 6:30 Central African time. Huh. Wonder where those elephants went. Might be close by still. And rhino tracks. Well, maybe we ought to go the other way. Down on towards Gari Main. Still heading west. I was having to find something to look at while I fill some fluid. But it's going to have to top up some fluid in the engine. The moon. kudu again with an impala. Hello, ladies. Yeah, I'm gonna say goodbye to kudu for now. We got some ground to cover. Last little bit of our drive. That's where the elephant went. Tracks here, fresh tracks, crossing. A lot of elephants. Unusually still quite chilly for 9 o'clock in the morning. Stronger wind too. Wind's picking up. Back down Central Road, we'll get to Nala Road South. Franklin. because we saw Karula, everyone's gone to bed already. On the road south. Jewel, morning to you. How precious of you to send a request. Jewel. Are there crocodiles and alligators in our area? I'm trying to place Jewel. Cheryl's got Jewel on her avatar. And there was the singer Jewel. Crocodiles and alligators. Crocodiles, yes. Alligators, no. I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to find an alligator in Africa. No such things. Although there might be an odd reptile park that maybe has imported an alligator for exhibition purposes, or maybe even a zoo. Be interested to find out, actually, to think of it, whether there's an alligator in any of the zoos in South Africa. But crocodiles, we had a crocodile at Puma Waterhole or Gowrie Dam for most of the summer, or part of the summer. It moved on a few weeks ago. I seem to suspect it was after that very big storm that we had that crocodile chose to seek deeper waters. other water. And so we don't have a crocodile anymore in this part of the world. Maybe when the summer comes back, the rains come back, crocodiles might come back. Crocodiles move around in these small seasonal pans. They don't necessarily stay in the same area. They do when they're in rivers and bigger lakes. Males have territories. And when populations grow, the males coming into maturity get pushed out. So it's possible we'll get crocodile coming back in the summer months. But there's not that much likelihood of crocodiles moving about in the dry season. Unless they're at a water point where that water point is drying up and they need to go and find new water. It's always a possibility of the time when a crocodile might be moving about. That's more towards the end of the dry season when the temperatures are warmer. I can't see a crocodile moving very fast on a morning like this. Later in the day, yes, it would. Right, back to Spaghetti Crossing. Out to Chelapan and onto Philemon's Cut Line. Let's see if we can see some of those rhino. There were some rhino found earlier. Might see where they ended up. They might have even come down towards Chelapan. I'm not moving my head much because partly the cold and partly the earpiece. So look at everyone when I'm talking. Like a giraffe came down this way, the one we saw earlier. Look like that snake's been back at that hole in the ground. Anyone still within Kombi, Philemon's Cut Line? Mark, Kevin. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Doing what rhino do best in this weather. Cuddling up. We must have just missed them this morning when we went looking for the hyena den, the hyena at the den rather. We must have just missed them. Hello Shirley, we're going to visit the hyena den now that we know where it is, that they've moved. Yes, we will. We don't have time today, I'm afraid, but we will be doing that tomorrow morning. Yes, unless there's something like lion or something on the open area near camp where we're going to start the drive. Although if we start early enough, we might even be able to start up the drive at the hyena den. So first thing tomorrow morning. Short of leopard or something getting in our way, we will go to the hyena den first thing in the morning. Weekend, either Saturday night for some or Sunday morning for others. Happy Saturday everyone. I'm sure most people are on Saturday by now. Well, I'll be I'm looking at this knobthorn and the pink tinges to the ends of its branches, and I'm blown away because there are flowers forming already. Yep. This knobthorn is in bloom already. Now, the earliest I've ever seen a knobthorn in bloom is sort of second, third week of July. I have never seen a knobthorn in bloom in June. Little cream spikes of flowers coming out. The telltale sign was the flower spikes, the beginning of the flower spikes. A very pinkish tinge to them just before they open up. And I've been watching knobthorns all my life. I have a very close affinity to knobthorn trees. That's why I'm so upset when I see them being cut down here. But these knobthorns, well, this one in particular, is in flower already. The small one just next to it hasn't even lost its leaves yet for the winter. And there are a couple on the left that are still losing their leaves. A couple, actually 3 on the left, whose leaves are blowing across our boughs at the moment. And there's still a few leaves on them, but there's no pinkish tinge to those at all. So there's no sign of flowers coming out on that knobthorn. That is very interesting. There's no way these flowers are going to be fertilized. There might still be a bee or two flying around, but not many flying insects around to pollinate this time of the year. That is something else. Flower for the ladies for the day. A knobthorn flower. And by my estimates, the earliest flowering of a knobthorn on this day, the 20 something of June, 5th, 25th, 24th, 26th. And judging by things, that thing was flowering a few days ago already, starting at least. So let's say the solstice. Very, very interesting. Oh, sorry, Franklin. Hello, Lily. How many hippos at Duma Waterhole? Lily has counted 6. Let's see if you can count any others. Lily, I'm not sure. I didn't count them myself this morning. But on any given day, there could be anything from 0 to 14. I think the most we've counted is about 14. So I'm not too sure how many there are there today. Figure it's not a constant number because they move around a lot. Oh, another one of these roads coming straight in. From the south. The wind is howling, it is cold and bitter. Aboni língua. Need automatic steering. I can hold my collar up to my ears. Still not seeing rhino that are supposed to be lying on the road. Might have missed them. Maybe drove right past them. I see some grey shapes behind some trees. I see an ear flicking. Hello, Vivian. My mom's name's Vivian. Must be a good person. Hello, Rhino. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gosh, there's a crash of Rhino. Ooh. Where's Floppy ear? Not here. Let me just move. Abel's here to see them too. I'm not seeing Levani, our floppy-eared rhino. He's obviously number 6. He's often off on his own somewhere. Vivian wanted to know the gestation period of hippo because she saw the mating in the dam yesterday, wants to know when she can expect to see a little one. 9 months, Vivian. Nyama. Karula's almost on Triple M. Well, she's gone into that area on the other side of the power line where that little drainage line is. So these are square-lipped rhinoceros, as you can see. That we just move down a little bit. See how broad that mouth is. Very thick lips to be able to pinch at the grasses. Now, these rhino are grazing rhino, and it's no good when you're a grazer and you've got to take in a lot of grass. It's no good having teeth to chomp the grasses or to snip the grasses. Got to have these very thick lips that you can pinch large tufts of grasses or large clumps of grass to be able to take in enough to keep your bulk. And that accounts for that elongated head, very, very strange looking heads that these rhino have. Very small eyes. And the size of that head then accounts for that very big bump on the back of the neck that we call the nuchal muscle. Yeah, it's Nuchal, the nuchal muscle, the nuchal hump. Carries a lot of muscle and tendons that carry the weight of the head. Really incredible creatures. I mean, they're almost prehistoric. Not almost, they are. And unlike their hook-lipped counterparts who eat leaves, the browsing rhino or browse rhino or black rhino or hook-lipped rhinoceros, these rhinoceros are gregarious. They live in groups. They are social, as we can see. The black rhino is more solitary. You don't see them in groups like this. I think it's those folds of skin that you see on the front legs up near the elbow, between the elbow and the shoulder, that make them look so prehistoric. But partly that has something to do with it. And no other animal on earth that has that kind of a... It's almost like they segmented, like they've been put together like a Barbie doll. What are you doing biting me, fly? It might be dozing off, but the one thing that doesn't stop on a rhino are those ears, like little radar dishes. And this wind, coupled with the dry leaves blowing around, constantly making noises. And they're constantly alert, listening for snap of a twig or untoward noise. They're fairly sheltered where they are. Just looking at the grasses aren't moving much. So they must be quite warm with the sun. Now that they've all settled down, they're all lying down again. I'm going to say goodbye to you and the rhino and the wind. I'm going to go and find myself a sheltered spot in the sun and thaw out with a cup of chocolate or cup of tea or something. Thanks very much everyone for sending in questions this morning. Thanks for your company, and thanks Becky on camera. Thank you. Thanks Craig in Final Control. My name is Mark and this has been Wild Earth Safari, one of our best mornings in the last few mornings. Fantastic with Karula. We'll see you tomorrow morning, and well, have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.